Look, the mask isn't gonna like it, but I've been drinking Solaris Libres and I've got the reckless confidence of a bug mech pilot, so let's do this. Shen Liao was born in the infernal pits of hell in the year 3071. And it's said when he first grazed the inner sphere with his presence, angel statues throughout the inner sphere cried real tears, dogs and cats scuttled fiercely into closet corners, and everyone smelled rotten eggs within 3 jump points. And unlike Sun Tzu or Romano, who grew up seeing their parents as extremely flawed but real humans, Shen was raised in seclusion. Parents, in trying to avoid the mistakes of their parents, usually end up making entirely different mistakes, and Sun Tzu was no different. He thought he could build the mind of future chancellors like he was building the future of the Confederation, and that resulted in Shen being fed all the fairy tales of the celestial wisdom, having a divine right to rule the inner sphere as First Lord, but with no realistic exposure to what that meant in practice. Look, say what you will about Romano being cuckoo for Loco Puffs, at least she lived among semi-normal people and saw that Mad Max wasn't infallible firsthand. So after he left Liao Fantasyland, did Shen become a mech warrior like Chancellor's past, like his dad or his grandma or his great-grandfather? No! He studied logistics, and yeah, I know professionals study logistics, shut up, and it's probably why the Confederation got a shiv as far into the Republic's kidney as it did before Gary Stu Ward got his act together. But out of the contemporary House Lords, Julian Davion, Matsuhari Torana, Yori Kurita, and Nicole Merrick are all mech warriors, and something about Shen skipping what's practically a House Lord rite of passage just rubs me the wrong way. Even combat veteran House Lords are willing to send millions to die, but at least they know what it's like to be at the pointy end of the stick. Max grew up on myths of Capellan superiority, and then his occupation became making sure all the numbers added up, and the timetables were sound, and the chess pieces moved around the board efficiently. None of that's conditions a ruler to really seeing the people they rule as people. It's an unholy amalgamation of manifest destiny and the cold equations. But the ship of many a Chancellor is broken on the rocks of the galaxy-sized ship the Capellans have been carrying on their shoulder about creating the Star League but never getting to be First Lord. Even though on a long enough timeline, every government that centralized power on Terra ultimately sows the seeds of its own destruction, but no one seems to notice. Deny Liao Centrella told Shen Liao straight to his face. She's like, Terra's suicide, you can't lead us there. And she was right. Shen might not have pulled the trigger himself, but overstretching in a bid to capture Terra and so badly fumbling relations with his sister that the Dutch Evangelion decided to open a second front against the Capellans were the beginning of the end for Chancellor Megalomania. And that brings us inevitably to New Earth. Look, up until this point, Shen would be a solid B rating on the Chancellors. You can't see it, but I'm giving it a thumbs up. B+, maybe. Maybe not as good as his father, Sun Tzu, but who is? No, but seriously, who is? Oh, Sun Tzu, just hold me in your arms and tell me everything's gonna be okay. Sorry, what? Oh yeah, but no, Shen was, leagues better than Maximilian or Romano. But then he nuked New Earth, and it was the last act of a desperate man who saw his legacy slipping through his fingers, and instead of taking a long look in the mirror, he threw a temper tantrum. But the clan saw through this insecurity, amassed his strength, and sent Clan Snow Raven to send a message. Their warships descended on Gage and ultimately resulted in the Chancellor's death.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Rip, bozo! The only thing you did better than Sun Tzu Liao was suck and die. No one will mourn you in your campaign for personal glory. Papa Sun Tzu handed you the keys to a fully restored and improved confederation approaching the peak of its power. Instead of using that might to keep the Capellan Golden Age going, you just threw it all away on a vanity project. The only silver lining is that the new Chancellor is motherfucking deny Liao Centrella! Let's get real for a minute. You can't see it, but I've turned my chair around. I'm sitting in it backwards because I'm about to f you up with some truth. Shen Liao had to deny a dumpster fire on his way out of the door, and look, I don't know if she's going to be able to right the ship or if the Capellan's in for another century of humiliation, but if anyone can do it, it's her.